All right, last time we left off with a pretty big idea, right? That poetry can be a weapon, something that can heal, sure, but also something that can manipulate. So today, we're going to pop the hood and look at the engine. We're going to dissect the actual technology behind that power.
So that brings us to the big question. Why is poetry so dangerous? I mean, how on earth do poets pack such a massive punch with just a handful of words? What are these techniques that make it so powerful, so potent?
So think of this explainer as an investigation. We're pulling back the curtain on what the source material for today calls the secret technology of rebellion. We're going to see how poets can hide messages in plain sight, compress huge truths into tiny spaces, and even shake the very foundations of the world around them.
Okay, first up, the art of the indirect attack. Look, when you're up against a power that doesn't want to hear what you have to say, you can't just shout it from the rooftops. So what do poets do? They whisper, they use metaphors, symbols, basically a kind of code to deliver messages that can't be spoken out loud. It's like a secret handshake that bypasses the censors and plants a seed right in your mind.
And you can't find a better example than this one from Langston Hughes. He doesn't come out and make some grand accusation. Nope. He just asks this simple, almost quiet question that just hangs there in the air. What happens to a dream deferred?
And this is the genius of it. Hughes never ever says something as blunt as racial discrimination is crushing our dreams. Instead, he does something way more powerful. He takes that abstract idea, that frustration, and turns it into something you can almost touch or smell. A raisin in the sun. You can picture that, right? A festering sore. You physically recoil from that. He's making you feel the injustice in your bones.
And this just nails the whole point. As the book says, a song goes further than an indictment. And isn't that the truth? An indictment, a formal complaint, it's just words on paper. It gets read, filed away, maybe forgotten. But a song, a poem, that stuff gets inside your head. It becomes an earworm. It gets passed from person to person, spreading its message like wildfire. Way more powerful.
All right, so that's one tool in the toolbox. But sometimes the rebellion goes even deeper. It's not just about what you say, but how you say it. The next technique is all about breaking the rules, attacking the very structure of language, grammar, punctuation, the whole shebang. And you've got to understand, this isn't just about being sloppy. It's a statement. Breaking the rules of language is a deeply political act. It's basically saying, your rules, your order, they don't apply to me. Your neat little boxes can't contain my experience.
I mean, just look at someone like Emily Dickinson. In the super rigid, male-dominated world of the 19th century, she just threw standard punctuation out the window. And those famous dashes of hers? They're not just a little quirk. They're like little earthquakes. They're cracks in the smooth, perfect surface of conventional grammar. Each dash is a breath, a pause, a space where she's carving out her own world, one that refused to play by the rules everyone else was following.
And believe me, this rebellion of form is happening right now, on your phone. Think about poets like Rupi Kaur on Instagram. Yeah, a lot of old school critics will say, oh, that's not real poetry. But you know what? That's kind of the point. Just like Dickinson broke the rules of her day, these poets are using the grammar of social media, short lines, no caps, simple images, to completely redefine what poetry can even be. They're taking it out of the stuffy textbook and putting it right into your feed.
So we've seen these two big strategies, the indirect attack and the rebellion of form. But what makes them actually work? Let's go one level deeper. Our source material points to three primal weapons baked right into poetic language. These are the building blocks, the raw ingredients of rebellion.
And here they are: condensation, rhythm, and imagery. Think of them as the three secret keys that unlock our brains, bypassing all our logical defenses and speaking straight to our emotions. This is the engine room, folks.
All right, let's start with condensation. This is the idea that poetry packs meaning into language like an atomic bomb, a tiny package with an enormous explosion of meaning. Take this incredible line from Maya Angelou. That one word, dust. It holds centuries of being stepped on, dismissed, scattered. An entire history of oppression packed into a single syllable.
And then you get the payoff, I'll rise. Boom. In just 4 words, you get this whole epic story of resilience and dignity. I mean, imagine trying to explain all of that in a regular paragraph. It would take pages and pages. But poetry makes you feel it, all of it, in a single heartbeat. That's the power of condensation.
Weapon number 2 is rhythm. And please don't think of rhythm as just some fancy decoration. It's not. It's almost like a form of hypnosis. It gets past your thinking brain and goes straight for your body, for your heartbeat. You see it in protest chants, right? Or in spirituals. That shared beat, that pulse, it turns a bunch of separate people into a single unified force. It takes individual feelings and makes them collective.
And that brings us to the third weapon, imagery. This one is all about attacking your senses. A great poet doesn't tell you what fear is. They, like T.S. Eliot, show you fear in a handful of dust. They don't want you to think about it. They want you to experience it. They want you to feel that dry, gritty texture in your own mind. Imagery makes words into a full-body experience.
Okay, so we've looked at the secret tech, right? The indirect messages, the rule breaking, and those 3 core weapons: condensation, rhythm, and imagery. But here's the twist. Here's why this whole thing matters so much, way beyond some stuffy literature class. This stuff, it's not just in poetry. These techniques are absolutely everywhere. They're in political speeches with their catchy rhythmic slogans. They're in advertising, using a powerful image to make you feel something about a car or a soda. They're in the songs that get stuck in your head for days. The point is, you now have the decoder ring. You can see the machinery working behind the curtain.
So what do we do with this knowledge? Well, the book gives us one last absolutely critical tool for our own self-defense. The next time something moves you, a song, a speech, an ad, whatever, you have to stop and ask yourself this one powerful question. Did the emotion I just felt liberate me, or did it just confuse me? Let me put it another way. Did that feeling open up my world, make me see things in a new, broader way? Or did it actually trap me? Did it push me into a narrower way of thinking? Asking that question, that is how we protect ourselves. It's how we get to enjoy all the incredible power of language without becoming its puppet.
Everything we've talked about today comes from the analysis in the book Why is Poetry Dangerous? So if any of this sparked your curiosity and you really want to dig in deeper, you can find it for sale on Amazon. Thanks so much for joining me.